the last part, we finished the landscaping of Henford Manor, from the manicured garden full of rose bushes and blooms, to the greenhouse, complete with florist station and rare palms. We perfected Lady Evelyn's private grounds, and off camera finished the groundkeeper's outbuilding. So let's continue on with Henford Manor. Hello everyone, welcome to a new week on the channel and to a brand new part of World Renovation, Henford-on-Bagley edition. We are back at Henford Manor making a start on furnishing the front first floor. So as is tradition with these parts, I'll show you the tweaks that I've done off camera. I made a few little details and did a deep dive in the live edit catalogue, and you'll see the changes shortly. But to start things off, I just wanted to see how you guys are doing. I'm very much looking forward to the upcoming bank holiday in the UK, and if you're not in the UK, I hope you're gonna enjoy a very beautiful weekend regardless. I initially wanted to create a speed build before adding another part of World Renovation, but I'm really enjoying how this build is going, and seemingly you guys like it too because it's my most popular series so far in my growing channel. So thank you so much for the support. I just wanted to reiterate that in pretty much every part I'll do for the foreseeable. I'm really appreciative of the reaction and the comments and the shares, and yeah, it's really cool to see my channel grow. But I guess we'll just get into what I've done off camera. So let's get into some better lighting. As I mentioned, did a deep dive in the live edit catalogue, so I found these really cool planters and made sure to litter them around the grounds. The outbuilding has also been completed, so I made sure to add a gameplay element here with the workbench, and then just added a few kind of realistic details to the area, so some tools, and I found these really cool milk canisters from the live edit catalogue. So it kind of made sense with the adjoining farm that they would provide the produce to the manor house. So added a few canisters in here, some shelving units, some creepy cobwebs, which I think have some gameplay element to them. We have some extra firewood for the numerous amounts of fireplaces that we have in the manor house, and also this kind of power corner of the outhouse with a backup generator, etc. I imagine a manor of this size would require a lot of power to run. And also wanted to add the security burglar alarm. I wish the graphics went 2004 style, but at least there's a gameplay element to it, so if we do have some naughty robbers coming in, this should go off. Well, let's pray. I've not actually play tested it yet. And also reflected the planters that we've done at the front entrance, and I remembered that we have the romantic garden kit, I think it's called. I'm not quite sure what you would call this object, but I thought it was really nice for kind of a quiet reading area, and just adds a lot more to the architecture of this manicured garden. And in turn, from that kit, I've pulled out the planter, the floral planter, and the matching statue. This is really reflective of this area because it feels quite quiet and a place for tranquility and to read. So very much happy with how that came out. Also replaced the planter here. If you remember from last time, we had some lavender. So instead, I've used the debug planter and then pulled some of the flowers, vegetation that we have listed around the place here. And I think these are from the Life and Death pack as well. Also found this really cool object, which is a clothes umbrella. So I did a little bit of realism here because, you know, being in the UK, it rains even during summer. So I thought this would be a useful addition for any outdoor seating area. Added more plants around here. And then I've also swapped out the pendant lights. We had chandeliers in the last part, but I sized them down and the candles are floating into high heaven. So I've just added these pendant lights as a replacement instead. And then moving into the back part of the build, again pulled out the same planters, and this time added some rose bushes that are taken from the landscaping. Added some extra ivy here. Oh, and also a statue in this corner from the same romantic garden stuff. Still won't get that name right. Finished off landscaping this side entrance here with some more rose bushes, and instead of just doing some hedges in this section and having it all green, I've actually carried through the manicured garden into this section, so it's actually a really nice vantage point when you're playing in this area with a sim. Just climbed up some floral ivy and kind of integrated this build into the half wall. I don't think I did anything too different to the last time for the greenhouse. Just a few maybe extra details like a hanging plant and then a few wall decals. But otherwise I was quite happy with how this turned out. And perhaps the biggest change to this part is the extension I've done to the back part of the manor house. I had a really nice comment from a viewer who said that this manor is kind of accurate to kind of historical references, basically having a staff side entrance, a greenhouse, and in turn I took inspiration from that and created this kind of miniature orangery, which is a kind of place where I'll probably have a dining space with lots of exotic plants and ferns, etc. So I'm really happy with how that kind of turned out. It's just added enough detail and a bit of curb appeal to the build in a space where I was kind of struggling of where to put some furniture in this kind of grand open balcony space. And for storyline purposes, I've added this non-functional bicycle with these cute planters attached to it for the gardener who lives across the way. And I imagined he'll like cycle in with this attached to the back of the bike with all these extra plants that he can add to the manor and I guess the estate itself. But oh, speaking of cute, look at this little bunny rabbit. It's just the joys of living in Henford-on-Bagley. So I guess now we've gone through the majority of the updates, we should get into the interiors, so I'll see you there very shortly. So welcome to the front foyer of Henford Manor. Now, I wanted to create a sense of grandeur, and with that, I've created a double-heighted ceiling with this gigantic deco chandelier. I kind of pictured this manor being built in the 1920s, following on from the last couple of parts. And in turn, I've made sure to pull out some key details that kind of reflect that era. So there'll be a lot of decorative kind of sconces and wooden elements. And I wanted to differentiate this double-heighted initial front kind of area with some marble ceiling tiles in comparison to this really rich parquet flooring, which is really beautiful and plays off these, what I believe are called finials that I found in the catalogue. I've actually never used these before in a build, and they really add to this sense of 1920s grandeur that I had in mind. Now, as with ever with all these issues that we have with curtains in the game, I couldn't find window dressings that completely matched the height of these windows, but I think I've managed to make it work slightly, and also there'll be furniture that kind of disguises the sins of the length of these curtains. Now, I've also put an archway through to the staircase section, which also leads then through to the left wing of the house, and then added these glass paned double doors that go through to more of a hallway and then to the living area on the right wing of the house. But where I wanted to start first was to place the kind of main fireplace section. So I noticed in a lot of these houses on research that there's always a fireplace in the front entrance, kind of, I guess, heats up that entire house, although there'll be fireplaces here, there and everywhere, and really creates a focal point for the room. So we don't have too many double-heighted fireplaces, unfortunately, but what I did have in mind was the one from the Vampires pack, and I think this swatch works perfectly as well with the wood tones that we have going on, the rich wood tones. Now, I did want to dress this fireplace with a mirror, but unfortunately we don't have too many large mirrors in the catalogue. I did manage to find this one from the Cozy Bistro pack, and in this swatch as well, it kind of works perfectly with the gold that plays off the chandelier and the deco references of the woodwork. So I think that works kind of perfectly. Now, it seems a bit macabre, but I had this idea of adding a urn on the mantelpiece. Now, this kind of ties in with the storyline that Lady Evelyn is, has been devoted to her parents, and she was really close to both of them, despite them being quite a reserved family. And I thought maybe this could contain both their ashes, her parents' ashes. So yeah, I think this urn from the Life and Death pack works perfectly, and in that swatch as well. I also want to add a few more kind of decorative bits, so let me pull them from the catalogue and I'll show you what we've come up with. Thought we'd add the final bit of detail to this mantelpiece with some candelabras from the Love Struck pack, and I've chosen these really cute dog statues, kind of reflective of Lady Evelyn's dog, but I feel like spaniels have been in the family for centuries, so kind of made sense there. Now, this kind of alcove recess from the creating this chimney breast for the fireplace is the perfect spot to add some bookcases, and I have just the ones in mind. I believe they're from, if I can get into the right section, the Life and Death pack, which is proving very useful. Yeah, it's these ones. And the great thing about these, they come in matching wood tones but with differing book swatches, which I would very much like The Sims to keep doing, because as we all know, swatches are limiting in this game, and this just really makes this item work longer and for more kind of scenarios if we have different book swatches. So I think that works just perfectly in that area. Now, one thing I also noticed in these houses is that they have a front entrance table with a big floral bouquet on it. So I do want to try and emulate that, but I think we might have to do that with a dining table because our kind of hallway tables aren't big enough. So let me just pull one out that potential will work. It'll have to be a big 6-seater one. Perhaps maybe if this comes in a dark swatch, the one from Jungle Adventure. That is perfect, actually. And let's also choose some rugs. I feel like textiles really bring a room together, especially when it's a big space to work with. And I believe there's one from the new Businesses and Hobbies EP. Not in this swatch, but there's some Warner swatches in a blue. And then that plays off the kind of metal accents, also the gold from the chandelier, and the kind of greens that we've got peppered throughout. But I might just size you up, maybe to a 1.2. Yeah, that's perfect. And you'll also notice in manor houses like this, there's multiple of the same rug in these areas. So let's make that apparent in this hallway. Might just flip you around though, so you're not all in the same section. I think that's just about central. And then therefore you can kind of create different zones for the room, and it helps break up the massive expanse of it. I was thinking here maybe just to have a kind of regal looking plant, and there's one I think potentially from the Love Struck pack and in the swatch as well that kind of works for a hallway scenario. It takes up a lot of width and not too much depth, which is perfect. And before I forget, let's add in the fireplace tools in this dark brown swatch and some firewood, which plays into the storyline of Mabel, the maid, who has to kind of dress all the fireplaces around the manor from this firewood that's collected in the workhouse. And before we get around to adding some like floral details, I wanted to add a few more furniture pieces in here. Now, in Ebrington Manor, there is a part of the hallway that has a desk, and I really like that idea of kind of adding furniture, say that the Henford family has collected over years of owning lots of land and lots of money. And I imagine these are kind of vintage pieces that they have kind of shipped over from far-flung parts of the world. And some will come from kind of a Regency era, like European kind of styles, maybe kind of Eastern furniture as well. So there'll be a whole eclectic mix of furnishings in this manor, I imagine. I like how this blue plays off with the rug, and the dark wood tone works with the paneling. And although this isn't a perfect match to the wood tone, I enjoy the kind of vintage aspect that I was just mentioning, as if they've kind of sourced this from a far-flung part of the world. Now, I might add another urn to this section and maybe another floral bouquet, so let me just dress that and we'll get back to furnishing this section of the room. I've dressed the desk with a floral bouquet, but white roses only, from the garden, and also added an urn because what's a manor house without multiple urns in the front foyer section? I just wanted to finish off this desk area with a bit of artwork. We're going to be limited with what we can add because I'm going to try my best not to repeat artwork around this gigantic house, but I think it might prove a bit difficult. I did have this one in mind because there is a blue and a bronze swatch that plays off all the kind of tones that we have in this room. And although this manor house isn't matching the style of what's in the painting itself, I was thinking maybe I could create this in the world later down the line. Maybe it's their first house that they kind of owned, or maybe another extension of their portfolio. So quite liked how that sat in this space. And then, as with all kind of manor houses, there's always a grandfather clock, so I'm going to pull that one out. I think maybe I might get the one from Life and Death. It does have the skull on it, but I quite like how decorative that is in comparison to the base game one. There's just a few more kind of intricate elements to it, but I might tone you down in a dark wood. Just shift you off into the corner as well. And also on my finds, I came across a lot of just like random seating. I think when you've got a big space like this, the more seating, the more furniture, the more natural the room looks. It's kind of just a giant waiting room, hallways. So I initially had the get-together pew. So it'd be quite nice to play into these medieval windows with something that felt like it could have been lifted from a medieval church. And then this kind of creates a nice bit of detail for this section. So let's get to adding the floral display. I'm going to look in debug because from what I found in the catalogue, the flowers are far too small for such a grand entrance. So let me just pull those out and then we can place them together. Okay, so my wedding stories came in use for once. This is one of the floral bouquets from the live edit catalogue, I believe. I've just sized it up one, and it's nice because it mirrors the white roses that were in the bouquet from afar, and then also the sprigs of blue play into this colour scheme as well. I found these floral table displays from the Seasons pack, I believe, in this kind of neutral swatch, and the nice thing about these is they curve, so I thought it'd be nice to kind of frame the floral arrangement in the middle to make more of a moment. Let's place it together. Just get the balance right though. There we go. Very classy, very sophisticated. And I think I'll mirror this through a few different of the kind of dead quote-unquote spaces in the house that need some extra detail. I think to finish this room off, we'll add some lights, some pendant lights. And the ones I had in mind were from Cottage Living, actually. These sconces. Not in this swatch though, I don't think. Make sure the height is correct. maybe in the bronze, and then that pulls in the cones of the chandelier. I won't place one here because I kind of had in mind that we would have a floor lamp instead, just for a bit of moodier lighting, not all the same. Maybe one from base game? The hues work. And then I think I might just add one more sconce here. Fab. And before I forget, let's add probably the most important, which is the portraits of Evelyn's mother and father. Portraits have been added. I really enjoy how this looks in the kind of gallery wall. And it's kind of naturally happened that Lady Evelyn looks like Lady Mimsy in this portrait. There's also another variation of this. I don't know if it's the same character, but it's kind of a grand portrait that I'll probably place in Lady Evelyn's bedroom above a fireplace. But I really wanted to take inspiration from this and use the kind of same wallpaper furnishings, the same kind of vibe to make it look like this house is kind of aged with Lady Evelyn's parents, and she's not done much to it. So more to come. And also I think it's quite nice that this plays off the garden that we have going on. So yeah, storylines in the making. Now, I think I'm going to move to the stairwell area, so we won't get around to finishing this in this part, the upstairs, but just to give you a semblance of the kind of grandeur that I had in mind, it's a double-heighted hallway with another one of these gigantic deco chandeliers, double-storied window ceiling, and yeah, this really grand oak wood staircase. Lots of natural light flooding in through the pane windows. So I think here, because we've got kind of restricted on space, I might just add another floor display and another rug. I think there's one that, to no surprise of anyone in this part, apparently I'm using life and death for everything. So there's one swatch that I came across, if I can find it. It's a circular rug, found it, but not in this swatch. Might choose this one, this blue purpley kind of swatch, and it plays off the textiles here. Can pull you out just a touch. And let's also add the floral displays that we created from earlier. You can place those together to size you up and then just maneuver you around a touch so it's not all copy and paste. Got told off for that in the last part. And then frame this bouquet with the table displays. And let's also bring in the sconces from the front foyer section. I think that height is, a bit too low actually. And light you up as well. Don't want too many lights considering we have that gigantic chandelier from above. I also wanted to add some portraits in this section. I was thinking these ones from the Spooky Stuff pack, I think it is. I'm not really sure because I've never actually used these in a build before. But maybe this could be Lady Evelyn's grandfather. And there's also one for the Lord and the Lady, so maybe this is her grandmother as well. Might just sit you at the natural spot. And that kind of plays into the storyline that this house has been in the Henford hands for generations. It's nice to have that vantage point through here. And then to finish this space off, I was thinking of adding some knights. Now, we have them in the catalogue in base game, I believe, so I might just keep it in this bronze swatch. Looks very ostentatious, but then it kind of plays into this idea of having a stately house. I think they'll just keep them there. I was considering peppering them around the front door and things, but it's not really a castle. think there's just enough detail. And then for this being a kind of hallway, let's just add a light, and then also a radiator, but maybe the kind of more Victorian looking one from the Vampires pack, and that kind of brown swatch, kind of disguised into the paneling. Oh, that window glitch that we all love. Yeah, just enough detail. So let's move on to the main ground floor hallway. This is where the Jack and Jill bathroom, the orangery, and I guess the kitchen will kind of offshoot from. So let me choose some lovely things and we can place them all together. Okay, I've made a start at pulling out some things. Now, reflecting the chair that we've used in the desk area, I thought maybe the family has bought multiple of these. So I'll probably place one of these in this kind of mini hallway. And I did also include the matching table. I like the decorative kind of floral relief detail on this. This is kind of nice. It kind of plays into this marble element that we have on the ceiling as well. Pulled out the vampires table lamp. Love the kind of tassel moment there. Feels very 1920s coded. And just made sure to add the sconces in this area where it makes sense. I think I might pull in a radiator here actually as well, just for an extra bit of detail and realism, I guess. And for this wall, there is going to be a side table, just to fill up some of this void space with a bust. Maybe that could be Evelyn's mother or grandmother, perhaps, with another floral bouquet with white roses, obviously, and this telephone object from, I think it was one of the events that we had in the game. I wish it was functional. It'd be so cool, but I thought it kind of played into this idea of Evelyn being very old school. She only has a landline, no mobile phone, so that's the only way you can reach the house. And of course, it's picked up by Winston, the butler. So, liked that bit of detail. And then I think I might reflect what we've done in the stairwell area and copy over another floral display. I think it kind of makes sense in these big builds in real life for there to be a lot of kind of mirroring of furniture, because I imagine it's quite expensive. Even though these furniture's been passed down generations, people bought them in like multiples, you know, so for this very reason to furnish dead space hallways. So I'll just perfect you a little bit more. And also add another grandfather clock, because we need more clocks in this house. Nearly messed that up. And then maybe let's add a portrait. Found the perfect one, but I think I might just size it up a smidgen. Looking a bit small. Although I don't know if that's made much of a difference, but I think it's fine. Pull you down slightly. Yeah. I don't think I'll add any more kind of details to this section. It really is just a connecting room through every kind of wing of the house. I've also mirrored the hallway over here, so exact same detailing. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I want this lock to load for you guys. So adding just the right amount of detail is kind of vital for this. But yeah, I think let's move on to this kind of miniature hallway before we get into the Jack and Jill bathroom. So I think what I might do is copy over this dining chair and then also the end table with the lamp. And I'm not really sure if we need much else. Maybe I'll copy over the rug so it makes sense in this area. It's really nice light there. It would be nice to add an indoor plant in this section actually. See what we can find. On second thoughts, we've gone for a radiator instead. It's kind of minimal detailed, but I think it works for, you know, what is a hallway. So let's move on to the Jack and Jill bathroom. So from my understanding, a Jack and Jill bathroom has 2 doors that lead on either side. So it kind of served the kind of guest area and also the private dwelling area. And it'll just be a half bath, so just have a sink and a toilet and maybe just some extra details. I've made sure to reflect the paneling but also toned it down with this blue shade because I came across this reference picture of a Manor bathroom that played with this colour scheme, and I really liked how the contrast of the deep rich wood with the lighter blue worked, and I think I just have the right sink in mind because it comes in this dark wood swatch and plays off the kind of bronze elements that we have with the chandelier, which is very fancy in itself to have a chandelier in your bathroom. Let's pick a fancy toilet, shall we? Maybe perhaps one from the realm of magic, but I think there's a bronze swatch here. And a mirror. Something decorative. I found the perfect one, and guess where it's from? The Life and Death pack. And I think I might just tone it down that kind of darker shade. Yeah. Let's get some accents out. Maybe a hand towel. Perhaps in this kind of motif, because I think there's a blue swatch that comes with the matching kind of metal tone. Can't forget a toilet roll holder, especially in a fancy house like this. Let's do that. And let's get in a rug. Maybe I'm thinking of like a runner rug. I think there's one that came with Realm of Magic that came in separate pieces that you could adjust. Although we do have this one from the Vampires pack. Which one do I want to use? You come in a grey. You do. What about you? Oh, that's quite nice as well. I think I might stick to you. Do we have middle pieces? Yes, we do, Chris. Nice. Although I'll just send to you. And then I think we need a plant in this section. Thinking of something kind of traditional looking. Maybe something from the base game. This potted palm works wonders. Might just scoot you over there. Maybe in a brown as well. Be slightly cutting into the wall, but nobody will notice. And let's also get a towel rack if we have one. Oh gosh. Remember when this pack came out and how gaudy everything was. I just wish there was like nicer swatches, because some of the stuff kind of works for a stately home. Like this, for example, but it'd be really nice if there was a lighter metal tone instead. I don't know if we need a window dressing. It's literally hidden by the statue and ivy, so I might give that one a miss. And let's get some storage in this area. I'm just going to pull out a cabinet and we can add some extra details together. Found the Cabinet of Dreams. Works with the dark rich wood tones that we have. And I remembered in the most recent beautiful sleek bathroom kit, we have these towels, so I might just add them. Maybe in, I think there's a bluish swatch. Maybe this one actually. And then kind of plays into the fact that there's a blue undertone in the room. I think that's all we need for a bathroom. Very grand bathroom at that. So I think, friends, that is the basis of where we should leave things. I'm happy with how things turned out. I may go away off camera and add a few more details. Might give a little mini tour of what we've done. Just hidden my camera for tour purposes. So this is the front fire section with a very beautiful looking fireplace, traditional fireplace. Double heighted ceiling with Lord and Lady Henford, Evelyn's parents. A little desk area and seating area with a very grand grandfather clock. A side hallway with a few furnishings, some really lovely daytime light that's flooding through. And maybe let's just go through the Jack and Jill bathroom, shall we? Jack and Jill bathroom, everything you would need. Into the main hallway with my favourite item of the game, if only it was usable. And some trinkets that the Henford family have gathered over time. Let's maybe go back through into the stairwell. Great vantage point there. That gorgeous deco pendant light. Really nicely turned out, with a few knights keeping watch. So in the next part, I think we'll focus on the left wing of the manor house, starting first with the orangery, furnishing the kitchen, and then the grand dining hall, which itself is double heighted. Just give you a little preview of that. It's kind of a church vibe that we've got going on. And we'll also make sure to finish off the side entrance and the side access for the staff. But I think I'll just leave you on a shot within the manor house before I sign off. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this part. Leave me some comments below with any suggestions that you may have. If you do like the video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.